Okay, so here we go. So quick demo here before you get going on your project. I'm going to use my SpongeBob demo just like we did in the beginning, and I'm going to draw it onto this larger square or this larger grid because this is basically what you're doing. The grids you're working on for the final project are bigger than your original ones. 1.5 inch squares to 1, so about 50% larger. Okay. Now I'm going to use a blocker. Blocker's a great idea, especially if you don't like the grids. Use the blocker. It'll help you. Okay. So you can see I've got this thing blocked off. So all I really have to do is pay attention to this. Remember, anything we can do to make this harder to recognize. Turning it upside down, blocking most of it off because this doesn't look like anything. Your left brain's not going to want to draw it. Your right brain's going to step in. You're going to draw more accurately. So the first and most important thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to mark where my lines cross the edge of my grid before I actually draw anything in. Okay? If you don't do this, if you don't use this method, I can't really help you very much. Okay? This is what's going to make your life easier for you. So I'm going to put a little X here. I'm starting in this square here, starting in this square here. So I'm going to start with my line right here next to the corner, line right here next to the corner. And remember, I'm going to use a dash to show me the direction the line's moving as it goes across the corner. And I'm going to mark it down here at the bottom. Now, because this grid is larger, a lot of times you might have to give yourself some sort of reference. So if I look at where this line crosses, there's the halfway point of the grid, and it's about half of that, halfway between the center and the corner, or the edge, so that's about the quarter area. So I'm here, there's my half, and about half of that. There's where it crosses, and then from that point you just sort of talk yourself through it. If you have something like this where it makes a sharp corner, you can try to give yourself a little bit of a reference for where it's going to change direction, and then talk yourself through the line. So a little bend, curved corner, and straight line up, straight line. Straight line up, straight line. Alright, cool. I'm going to move this thing over. I like to follow the edge. It just, for me, doing the outline first makes more sense. Then I worry less about the interior details and what they are. So once again, I'm going to look at sort of like, where is this? There's my halfway point. Okay, it's about a little bit above the halfway to that. There's my halfway. Okay, there's half again, a little bit above that. There's where my line crosses. One bump, one bump. And I'm going to keep going like this. Halfway point, a little bit below it, halfway point, a little bit below it, and down to the right, and a little bump. Down to the right, a little bump. Okay? Talking yourself through what the line does is going to make you more accurate. Now, if you like to go through and do interior details before the outline, that is also fine. Okay, you can do that. I'll walk you through one here real quick. One bump, two bump, and then out. One bump, two bump, and then out. So in this one, obviously this line touches the corner. Not a problem. There's my halfway point. A little bit over from that. There's my halfway point. A little over from that. And the reason this becomes, the halfway point thing becomes useful is that this is so large that your sense of proportions will be completely off. If you're drawing a human face or something like that, or a hand, or anything recognizable, anything that your left brain latches onto, drawing at this size, which is probably 2 or 3 times or more as large as you're used to drawing, your sense of what proportions should be will be completely off. You can't trust them. Trust the grid. You're going to be drawing stuff on the grid going, that can't possibly be right, it must be off. No, it is. It's on. If you use the grid, it's going to be where it's supposed to be. Pay attention to small details. 1, 2, 3 of these little dashes. 1, 2, 3. Remember that talking yourself in your head, so people don't think you're crazy, but talking yourself through the details is going to focus your attention better on what the details are. You will draw better because of it. Okay? So, as you go through this, remember, use the blocker. Turn it upside down if you can. If that doesn't totally drive you crazy, turn it upside down. I don't care if you work through the edges or just do one square at a time, but mark stuff on here. Give yourself little references. Mark your lines where your lines cross the square before you draw your lines. Okay? I had one last thing and I'm blanking on what it was. Well, we're just going to go with it then. All right? So, good luck with you and have fun.